Hello, fellow beings of light, and welcome to episode 11 of our podcast. This is part 5 in a 12-part series entitled 6 Degrees of Soul Separation. As in, we are all 6 degrees away from ascending to or expanding into our highest light body. Throughout this series, we are delving into my own personal journey to accessing, healing, and merging the 6 soul aspects of my own. Over the last 3 parts, we have delved into 3 of the soul aspects to separate from my light body: Arya, Shima, and Ila, which means we are officially halfway there. I don't know if you can sense it, but my inner child is blasting the Bon Jovi song at me now. At this halfway point, I am being called to take a step back, to reflect on what we have worked through so far, and to add in new information that has been coming through for me regarding those 3 aspects, as well as the journey as a whole in the time since we recorded those episodes. You may have noticed that this episode got moved back a week, and that was to allow for an episode centered around our new name and kind of a shift in our offerings. And I'm just now realizing in this moment that there was actually a secondary reason I was being called to move it back. And that is because I have been knee-deep in a Lightworker Lab and soul integration series with a fellow channel that has had not only lots coming through for my missions and our offerings, but in regards to my fellow soul aspects and the journey that I'm being asked to undertake personally and to assist others with, especially over the last week, and especially when it comes to the soul aspect we worked with in part 3, Shima. So, where to begin? I am being called to share a lot of what has been coming through recently, but I'm also being told to leave some of it out until a later point. That is interesting, but okay. I think we will kick this episode off with some of the new information I have received from my team about the why behind there being 6 soul aspects to separate from each light body. As we discussed in part 1, the concept of there being 6 soul aspects came to me in the form of geometrical shapes, ones that I was receiving from Kuan Yin. A hexagon made up of 6 triangles, with the hexagon being our light body and the triangles being the 6 pieces of it. In the last few weeks, my team has finally decided to elaborate beyond geometric shapes, which I am very grateful for. What I have been receiving is that when each light body separated, they did so by splitting up what we know below as the levels of consciousness and the corresponding knowledge and abilities and likely memories that matched with those levels. Hence, a great deal of the forgetting element of each soul aspect incarnating on Earth. We each have a single piece of a 6-piece puzzle that needs to be put back together. We each gain full access to our individual consciousness level and the knowledge and abilities and, again, likely memories matched with them once we start to expand, once we begin the remembrance and reawakening process. Or rather, when our team deems that we are ready to proceed with those things. At least that's how it was in my case, anyway. The others that we don't have, those other pieces, they take more remembering, more reawakening, more expansion to get there. But get there we can, because regardless of the separation, we still have bits and pieces of the whole that is our light body leaking through, and we can still access our fellow soul aspects that have the whole pieces, both directly and even indirectly without realizing it. Let's go ahead and walk through this so it's a bit clearer. Am I allowed to do that? Appears so for now. Okay. Before the separation of light bodies into soul aspects that would incarnate on Earth, there was 1D, which consists of the anchor points in all of the planets that connect with a central anchor point within or beyond the Andromedan galaxy, I believe. And 2D, which is what lies under the surface of each planet. Together, the two create the gravity that holds everything in the universe together and create the electromagnetic fields that allow for all existence above, as well as below once the great experiment / human experience on Earth started. Now, this is a very basic and limited description of the two dimensions. There is obviously a lot more to both, but it is enough to have the understanding necessary for this discussion. Beyond those two levels, there was what we would consider now 10D, where all whole galactic beings, pure beings of light and love, exist, and anything and everything above that level as well. The key here is that there were only essentially 3 levels between the anchor points and galactic beings. Not only that, those 3 levels and everything above them, they operated on a vertical axis. They still do. Up and down. That's it. When the time for the experiment / human experience on Earth started, light bodies were broken into 6 pieces, into 6 separate levels of consciousness. And that, my fellow beings of light, would be where 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, and 9D came into the picture. You can't see it, but I totally counted those out on my fingers. Definitely 6. 10D broken down into 6 pieces. And all of those pieces, all of those soul aspects, were or would eventually be sent off to live on the newly created 3D level. That is what makes Earth capable of sustaining human life. Now we have our anchor points in 1D through our whole galactic beings or light bodies at Tendi. We went from 3 to 10. Not only that, there now exists a horizontal axis at the 4D level, where we are able to access timelines and dimensions for each of those pieces, each of those soul aspects, and where soul aspects go between incarnations when they have not yet ascended back up the vertical axis to 10D. And not only that, we also now have those 5D through 9D levels that line up across that horizontal axis above 4D. They're in that separation between above and below. Hint here, that last fact is how we are able to access any and all of the 5D through 9D levels once we reach the 4D level, without having to complete one before the other, without having to complete them in order. Because they aren't levels that rise vertically, that we have to ascend. They are levels that span horizontally. And now I'm realizing why I like the term expansion, because it fits those levels. We can expand into them horizontally. And I'm gonna tip you off to something you may not realize, because this is one of the ways we have it backwards. We have the ascension blueprint and all of that. Not quite right. It's also how we are able to access our light bodies as well along that horizontal axis. But I still have much to receive regarding how that's possible. And someone on my team is telling me to hush. Oh, they're just wanting me to keep some things under wraps. And I think I know why, but part of me wants to spill. And, that was a lot to take in. Thank you for bearing with me through all of that. Because, it was also a lot to explain in as simple terms as possible, since that is clearly all I'm being called to achieve here. But I think we got it. I think we got the basics anyway. Feel free to drop questions in the comments if you were still scratching your head over any of it, and I will see what my team and I can do to answer. Okay, now that we have the basics of why there are 6 soul aspects to break apart from each light body, and what we have access to as a result of it, let's get into some updates about where things stand with each of the fellow aspects we have already delved into, as well as maybe come up with a question for each of them that I haven't quite answered yet, to see if we can jump into the Akashic Records and get them if there is time. We will see. First up was Arya, who we delved into during part 2 of this series. If you remember, she was selected to be one of many half-human, half-galactic being hybrids that were created above before being sent below, and allowed full access to their remembrance and abilities so that they could serve as healers and guides to the first wave of humans to incarnate on Earth. Her particular collective, which is known to me as Alrin, was sent to Atlantis. And, oh my gosh, I think I just made a connection of why the collectives they were in and the places they were sent, like Atlantis, failed. Oh, I'm being told to hush again. Uh, just think about what I was saying earlier about what the separation was and what I just said a moment ago. And you might get what I just realized on your own. Okay, let's get this back on track. Or not. Because it is really hard to get back on track. Because if I'm right, what I was leaning towards her being able to offer and share with me wouldn't be the case at all. So, without getting into what I'm being asked to not get into at this point in time, I don't think I can add anything about Arya at this time beyond what was already included in her episode. That bums me out a little, but I do have some things to think about and some receiving to do when it comes to her. And I know the answer she can offer and share with me will come when the time is right. Can I ask that question? Can I ask what consciousness level her piece was and what her abilities were? If I must. Oh yeah, I definitely must. Okay, we will circle back to her when we hit the Akashic Records portion of this episode because we are definitely going to be doing that. I will make time. Second up was Shima, who we delved into during part 3 of this series. She is the one that likes to appear out of order in terms of my fellow soul aspects. And I definitely have an answer to why that is now. Am I allowed to share that? Yep. Okay, good. I believe there was a smart ass thrown in there, which is true, so I'll own it. Before we get into that, though, let's do a recap. She was a Native American in Washington State during the 1850s, where I moved 3 years ago, in fact. And she was a teacher and healer, a preserver of culture, and a diplomat of sorts when it came to her tribe interacting with the white men that were increasingly settling in the area. Her life, her role within the tribe, took a very dramatic turn when she was attacked and lost her ability to speak because of her relationship with a white man, because of her relationship with our twin flame. What's new when it comes to her? I now know that she represents the 4D piece of my light body. How do I know that? Come on, guys. 4D is the astral plane. And what does Shima like to do? Appear out of order, jump backwards and forwards in time. Astral project, perhaps? There we go. That is the level, the knowledge, and the ability that she has to share with me for my missions on a level that is far higher than my own knowledge and ability when it comes to it. Because if I'm honest, I have no knowledge at all about it. Even if I am pretty sure I have done it and assisted others in doing it without realizing it more than once. Why do I say a far higher level? The obvious answer is it is the knowledge and ability that she is a master at. I just have bits and pieces of it that have leaked through from my light body, and that I'm only just now starting to remember because I was made to forget them, and I'm remembering because of my access with Shima, with her. The less obvious answer, that would be the real reason why I struggle with connecting with and speaking with her directly in general and when it comes to the Akashic Records. It's not because of her lack of voice and how that impacted her thoughts and emotions, which I had indicated was the case in part 3, not directly anyway. No, it is because she is in a constant state of astral projecting. She has chosen to keep reliving the time period directly before she lost her voice and the man she loved, our twin flame, over and over again instead of facing her present, instead of facing the period of time where she no longer had either. I'm also getting the feeling that because of this, she somehow never actually died during her present time. Hence why I can't sense additional incarnations of her soul aspect after her, or sense her among the soul aspects traveling through the horizontal channel between incarnations. She's just not there. And while I believe this choice is hindering our ability to connect and share, and ultimately, I am guessing, our ability as fellow soul aspects to unite as one again and allow our light body to put her pieces back together, I do believe she's trying. I honestly can't explain how or why I know it, beyond the fact that she appears in different time order. I believe that she has been doing that, jumping timelines to help me in accessing the others and what they have to share more easily in a different way. So we will get her healed. We will get there. That's not what I'm going to try to accomplish today, though. It's not the right time, and I feel like there is more work to be done before we can cross that bridge together. What question can we ask her then? That's a good question. Um, you know, let's go ahead and assume she truly can help me with accessing the others and their knowledge and abilities, as I believe she has been doing. And let's ask her how she does that so that I can help others in the same way. Because it seems like more than just your average astral projecting. Okay, moving on. Last but not least is Ila, who we delved into during part 4 of this series. If you remember, she was our Wonder Woman Last Airbender aspect, a part of the Greek Amazons, a community of women warriors who kept men out. And she packs some badass abilities. Her and her fellow Amazons had the ability to surround a battlefield and use energy to not only access the past and future of those on the battlefield, but to use the knowledge gained to weave energy illusions that fought the battles. That's right, their illusions did the fighting, while they held a circle around the battles. Now, I actually don't have anything new to report on her either, but I do have my question. I'm not sure what level she contains or how her abilities work, how they relate to it, even if I know sort of what they are. So that is what I want to know. And with all that reflecting and updating out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it, into the Akashic Records, because I definitely feel it's important to have enough time for a visit and enough time to get some answers, because those answers are going to be what is important in this episode. Some reminders. I'm going to walk all of us into my records together. There may be pauses as things are accessed. There may be light language. And honestly, there is a chance that someone or something different may come through for you in the moments of silence and receiving, or even in the moments I am sharing with you. That happens to me when I am doing these sorts of things with other channels. So don't worry, I won't be offended. Whatever comes through for me or for you or for all of us as one, merely be open to receiving it, to taking in and considering what resonates, and to letting go of what does not. You guys are going to have to excuse me. I have a cold coming again, and I honestly can't tell if this is just the human variety or another round of calibration starting because of everything that is coming through. So just kind of bear with me with my voice, and if there are any coughs that come through during this. Let's settle into a comfortable position. You can either sit or lie down, and go ahead and place your hands facing palms up on your lap or at your side, and begin breathing slowly and deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. Now, close your eyes and focus on your breathing, letting go of any thoughts or emotions that may be floating around in your mind. I want you to take 3 more slow and deep breaths with me. And with each inhale, I want you to think to yourself, focus on letting go of distractions. And with each exhale, I want you to think to yourself, focus on opening to receive. Focus on letting go of distractions. Focus on opening to receive. Focus on letting go of distractions. Focus on opening to receive. Focus on letting go of distractions. Focus on opening to receive. As you continue breathing, I am going to take a moment to connect in with your energy field and with my Akashic records. Good. Now, I want you to open your mind's eye and see yourself standing with me before a massive tree. And the more that you focus your attention on it, you start to see lights hanging from the branches and windows and a large door directly in front of us at the top of a few wooden stairs. This may look far different than your own records, but this is how my Akashic Records appears to me, as a tree of wisdom, as a tree of knowledge. I want you to feel me taking your hand gently and slowly beginning to lead you up to the tree and up the stairs. 1, 2, 3, and to the now open door where we see not one, but 2 guides waiting there for us. One is my guide in many things, including my Akashic records, Hermes. He stands to one side of the door, and to the other is another guide. This may be your guide, either to your own Akashic records or to your inner truth. I have 2 guides that enter my records with me, Hermes and my Truth and Water guide, known to me as Hades and occasionally Osiris. So if you are unable to see a guide of your own, feel free to go ahead and connect with him. And I ask him to come closer to connect with anyone who might need his assistance during this journey. Both guides hold the doors open for us, allowing us to step through and into a main hall, a circular room with books, ladders, and stairs, and the occasional doorway surrounding its walls. Not only that, apparently our new pink dragon slash snake friends who travel time and joined us last time are now here again. Maybe that means they're going to be a permanent addition to my records. I'm actually okay with that. They're pretty cool. As you take in all of this, our guides help us to step down into a cozy sitting area that has a central fire pit, a desk, and some seating. Down the stairs. 3, 2, 1. Once we reach the bottom, I gently take your hand once again. And this time around, I lead you over to a circular rug that contains some pillows for us to sit on. This isn't usually here, but my records must be reading my mind because I intend to invite all three of the fellow soul aspects we discussed to join us. And there simply isn't enough room on the daybed for all of us to sit. Okay. Another deep breath and maybe even wiggle around a bit because we are already bringing in some serious energy. And I honestly haven't even gotten started yet. So this is definitely going to be something. From this moment forward, you will be a casual observer of what unfolds next and a potential receiver of anything that comes through or forward that is meant for you. I call forth the records of my fellow soul aspects, my highest soul aspects. Once again, these particular records, they don't appear on the shelves of my Akashic records. They appear to me in a floating glass box of books, each a different color and each containing a unique piece of our light code, a portion of our collective blueprint. Today, instead of calling forth one book, one record, I call forth the books of Arya, Shima, and Ila, and ask that they be placed at the center of this rug. And I also call forth the presence of all three of those fellow soul aspects opposite us on the rug. And if not able to appear themselves, I ask that someone who is able to represent their records come forth. Please come forward now and share with me, with us, the answers to the questions I seek, as well as that which you think will aid in my or our journey most at this moment in time, or in the weeks, months, and year to come. Oh, I feel the presence of Arya and Ila, but just as I was kind of expecting, no Shima, and in her place, sitting between the other two, is our unnamed shaman friend who served as a guide for her. And now for me, I will accept that. And he is somehow creating a sort of a campfire, but without it's the fire, and there's no wood, it's just hovering the flames in the air above the records, those three books. Okay, well, enjoy that. It's beautiful and warm, and I am sure it is here for a purpose. Usually with him, that's cleansing some things, letting go of some things. We'll see. Thank you to all three of you, for coming forward, for joining us today. I seek to ask questions that will aid me in my journey and in fulfilling my purpose, what I am being called to do more and more. Arya, I wish to know which consciousness level, which dimension you possess, and what ability is associated with it. What ability do you have to share with me? Dear Jessa, you surprise me. You are so smart, so intuitive, so in touch with your Claire abilities. Whether you realize the extent with which you are or not, you should know already. But perhaps it is my fault that you do not. My role in your forgetting, and my role in not clearing up misperceptions regarding the expanse of my knowledge when we have connected in the past. You have uncovered those misperceptions now, though, haven't you? You now know that I do not possess knowledge of all of the levels of consciousness, but rather only my own. My knowledge, it belongs among the fifth dimension, with the flow of what your human experience is meant to show you, to achieve for you, for all of us. Thoughts and emotions beyond light and love, contrast, and more importantly, the recognition that what originally you learn to be opposing thoughts and emotions can be complementary, both good, neither bad. My ability, if not clear from what I have already shared, is alchemy, the transmutation of thoughts and emotions through one's energy field, healing, reminding, awakening through one's energy field. I have nothing more to offer. You are on the right path already, dear one. You are doing far better than you even know, than you give yourself credit for. Believe in yourself and take care of what comes. Take care of your rising energy frequency. I believe the word you have been using in your mind, that has been coming to your mind lately, is maintenance. Work on that. Whew. She is complete. Thank you, Arya. I'm going to stretch out for a second. This energy that's moving through me is crazy. Go ahead and stretch and move a little if you feel the need to as well, because we still have 2 more to go, and they are probably going to pack a punch as well. Okay. Let's go to Ela. Ela, I wish to ask you the same question, to know which consciousness level, which dimension you possess, and not necessarily what your ability is, because I have an idea, but how it is used. How do you access the past and future? And how do you weave illusions using it? I am a weaver of energy. You know this. But not on the highest level as you originally thought. No, I think you realize now that it is you who does so, who belongs to the 9th dimension. Such a shame you know not yet the immense power with which you weave energy. But you will. To answer your question, I weave on the 6th dimension, using language and symbols, weaving with those clair abilities that our sister mentioned, but not in the way that those on earth refer to them as psychic or mediumistic abilities that are woven through the mind. Instead, we weave those abilities using light, our light, and we weave them through the energy fields of ourselves and others. We use our light abilities to travel across time and through energy, and we take what we receive and weave it into language and symbols. What you refer to as geometry to create our illusions. Illusions that have the weight and consequence of physicality, of reality. You have absorbed much from me already. I see it in the language you draw, in the symbols, the shapes, the geometry that you feel called to draw but resist. Stop resisting. Use the ability I share, the knowledge I share. Okay, I guess she's done, that she's not going to tell me how. That's not her. That's our friend from earlier. And their message is, no, you can figure it out on your own. You are capable. Okay, then. Got it. That leaves our unnamed shaman friend, who is representing our little time jumper, Shima. Let's go ahead and give my questions a try. Is Shima, in fact, aiding me in accessing our fellow soul aspects, in accessing their knowledge and abilities across time? Arika Kotoka. Yes. Oh boy, to the point, I can see. This is going to be interesting. Moving on then. How does she do so? How can I help others in the same way? What am I missing beyond the astral projection component? That is more than one question. Yes, yes, it is. But they are related, and the questions stand. You are not wrong. Pushy is, I believe, the word that's coming through, but not wrong. He's right there. Give him that. Answers. Let's get some answers. Can you provide those? Ari aru arakabo ara ari ha aru iskaraka are ara ani ara urskara. Our Shima, she can receive knowledge through the energy field of others. Ari usara karakati are usanama kategraskatakati. She can share their energy field with them as if it were her own. Ari skara katakata. Take from it. Ushkara ukushkatakati. Ara shushkara katushkatakati. Without being of their time or their dimension. Agra shwa karakati skara o ari arushara pakata atakate. This is how she shares it with you, by sharing your energy field. Ari ushara kara kadiya usha. When she does, you know it as if it was your own. Ari ushara kata. You can do the same. Arusha karagareska. I am done here. Okay then. Our unnamed shaman friend has left the building. He is always a character. But that was interesting. And it does resonate. It relates to something that's been coming through about having two versions of the same person from different timelines come together and merge their knowledge and abilities and memories in the void through plasma, kind of weave them together and allow them to return to their times with both having more of all of those things than they entered into. So I'm definitely going to have to think on that, because that definitely came through in the soul integration session I tried to do with Shima, which of course she made difficult with her lack of presence in the present, rather. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I will have to think on all of it some more. Let in everything that's come through. Let it settle. Let it float. Let it flow, as Aria would want me to do. But for now, I believe our time in the Akashic Records has come to a close. If Aria, Ila, or any other guides or records anywhere in this big old tree of mine have nothing else to add, let me give them a second, because I kind of feel something, but I don't know what it is. Arishara kurshkadakadiska. Arishara rishtara hushadakadiska. Are suhoskara bakaskate. Are shushkada bakarashkadakadiska kadahushkadakadiska. Ari arusara sala. Ari shushkala bakaskadakade. Ari. Ari. Hari arusalakadis kadakati. Hari ushala. I'm not going to translate because I'm not being asked to. What I believe is happening is our guide that's kind of had some commentary throughout this whole episode. They're asking all of us to go into our heart center right now. So breathe deeply and focus on that area, and maybe do some light tapping there over your heart space and around it if you feel like moving. To receive, share in any of the knowledge that was shared today throughout this episode, throughout this time in the records, so that you may have it as well, so that you can go forward and consider it and use it in your own journey. So let's go ahead and do that, because I think what she's trying to do is integrate those things and allow for that sharing. Whoever this is, because I'm honestly a little confused. I believe it's Isis. But she's not really making herself known to me. I know it's a she, but it's behind me and I can't see who it is. So, into your heart space, breathe into it, tap, and let's do this. Ari, whooshkadakadi, skadapukoshkadakadi, skadakadi, arushkadakadi, skadakadi, skadakadi. Ari, whooshitarakadi, skadakadi, skadakabushkadakadi. Hari, sha, susa. Hari, Hari. Aria Wasarapakaska. Arish Kudakadish. Aria Ru Aria. Are Surmasa. Arish Kurush Kadakadiska. Arish Turarish Aru Rasu. Amisu Skala Kari Skala. Hari. 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 She is complete. Thank you for that, whoever you are. Okay. With that, our time in the Akashic Records has come to a close. Go ahead and close your mind's eye once again, returning to a pace of slow and deep breathing. As I put Arya, Shima, and Ila's records away, lead us back up the stairs from the seating area. 1, 2, 3. Back to the door that we entered in through. Down the stairs there. 3, 2, 1. And down the path and slowly back to each of our present surroundings. As I do so, begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes a bit. And when you are ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Thank you for joining me today for the journey into my Akashic Records and for this episode. Join us for next Monday's episode, which will cover a discussion of our third and final C, reconnecting with our core, our heart center, our inner fire, our intuition. Then again on March 3rd, I believe it is. Let me double check on that. Oh, nope, March 4th for part 6 of this series, which I'm not going to spoil by giving you a hint. I'll just say that it is going to be enlightening. Until next time, everyone, I am going to go get some rest, both for my cold and for all of this that's coming in, because I think my energy is hitting an overwhelm point. So it's time for some of that maintenance that Arya was directing me to. Arishkatakati.